Lila, now bound, confesses who she really is. She tells us that she is a first-rank agent of the Kosheran's family's Shadow Corps Special Operations Unit. Calyx wonders what this so-called Shadow Corps, since even he isn't aware of it. According to Lila, it's a special force that gathers orphans with combat talent and subjects them to extreme training at the so-called Gorda Highlands camp, and only the most outstanding children who survive are selected and dispatched to various locations with false identities. Lila, don't flatter yourself by saying you're outstanding. Our boy asks her what was her false identity in the Shiakin Count's territory. She tells us that she posed as Countess Stella's maid. You, says the bitch angrily. She looks like she's going to explode with anger as Lila exposes her. They continue with this confession while Calyx faces his stepmother. Calyx asks if Count Stella knows our girl's true identity, and Lila obediently said, "Yes, no, this is a conspiracy." The bitch screams with anger. She looks like she's seething with anger because these accusations are not enough for her. She says, "Lila has worked here for 5 years, and now you're saying she's a spy? Such deception is a violation of the kingdom's laws." Which, if you think about it, could raise some eyebrows. She continues by saying, "We must officially protest against the Kosheran's family." Why now? It's been happening openly for some time, even though we never had proof. But the problem is, now we have a witness. The old geezer looks petrified like a stone. He looks pale also, as it looks like things aren't going as he wants it to be. Damn it! He thinks to himself. The old geezer asks Lord Russell why he is silent, and is he really going to believe the word of a lowly maid like Lila? But as we are observing here, Russell looks like he is going to stand by Calyx's side all through the way. Russell stands there firm as Outboy looks up at him. Russell says that Lila is not a lowly maid but a criminal caught in the act, and she just admitted herself that she's a spy from the Kosheran's family. Calyx smirks, knowing that Russell is on his side and willing to die for him. Whether it's a conspiracy or not, you can judge after hearing the testimony. The old man says, "Viscount Russell, you?" And it looks like he's not able to finish his sentence due to terror and fear. A noble yells, "The chief treasurer must stop this nonsense." It looks like he's part of this sticky situation as well. "What did you say?" says the old geezer, and looks like he's panicking. They say that everyone should shut up in the court to what the assassin has to say. The old man looks terrified as he looks at the Countess. It really looks like they are backed up against a wall. The Countess is fuming with anger as he hears Calyx questions our girl. While posing as a maid, what mission were you assigned? Lila says that once a month, she reports the information she gathered. What kind of information? Our boy asks. Lila tells us that mainly she gets the information of the financial ledgers created by the chief treasurer regarding the territory's income and expenses, the schedule and travel routes of the late Count Korin, and the political movements within the vassal's inner circle. She says this with a voice as if there's no hope in it, and Russell looks so pissed off on what he's hearing. Someone says, "What? Impossible." In the court. They're shocked because they now know that the Countess knows so much about the castle. Our boy steps in and makes a daring question now. He asks Lila what was the most recent mission she was carried out to do by her superiors. She tells the court that she was tasked with tricking Prince Calyx into drinking the poison known as slow creeping death, then enter his bedroom to plant a forged suicide note to stage his death. Lila says all of this with life devoid of her, as if she's just a husk of a human being. We can see it evidently based on the dead look in her eyes. "What was the result?" asks Calyx. She wants our girl to spill the beans in front of the court. She tells them that she succeeded in poisoning our boy, but when she entered in his bedroom, she was caught by Count Regent Russell. The Countess, through the whole situation, turns her head down as she's gonna explode. Clearly it's not her day, and her fat son is just looking like an airhead as if he's not paying attention. The Countess yells at her like a beast and tells her to shut up. The bitch is so pissed off that she went out of her way to get off her ass and assault our boy. She angrily yells, "Is there any proof? Any evidence?" The people try to calm her down, but her rage looks like it could overpower them. "This is a conspiracy," she keeps persisting. But it's useless since our girl Lila has confessed everything which the council needs to hear. "Evidence, you say?" It looks like Calyx has another card up his sleeve. It's already looking well for him. What else could he possibly have? "Count Regent Russell?" he asks the commander. He answers with yes, like an obedient dog. Russell yells at the top of his voice. Here is the forged suicide note of Prince Calix. He points it at the faces of the council. This is clear, concrete evidence. If this doesn't convince them, I don't know what will. He states that last night, he caught Lila sneaking into Prince Calix's room, attempting to plant that note. And this here is the scroll of the Earth's memory, which many of you are already familiar with. Whatever the hell that means, that he tells us that it's enchanted with magic that reveals the wicked intentions of those who touch it through visions. Holy shit. The whole council shocked further at the info. This magic will show who gave order to Lila. The truth will be laid bare. Talk about a top-tier truth-speaking potion. The old man thinks anxiously that this must be prevented from leaking out, or else things will be bad for him. Even if they have to silence everyone here. Looks like there's some killing which needs to be happening. Looks like some nobles are nervous also, and most likely they're part of the assassination attempt. Our boy spots the old man. I think he spots how nervous he is, and he has been so vocal about his thoughts are. He knows too much and questions too much. Calix removes his hand out of extremely large coat and appears to do something. Come in, he commands someone. The old man is in a surprise as he sweats. Whoosh! The guards suddenly barge into the room. It looks like something spicy is about to pop up here. Maybe a killing spree will happen now. The nobles look confused as the soldiers run up through their back. This is no place for the likes of you. The security here is under the jurisdiction of the guards, the nobles say. Everyone is here. The guards, the nobles, and the criminal. Ready to settle this once and for all. The old man sweats like hell as he's really cornered. Anytime he can be killed since the guards are just there. Lord Russell tells us that he already reviewed the contents of the scroll and they were shocking to say the least. And to avoid disorder, he has no choice but to summon the knights. He asks for the nobles' understanding, but does it really matter, as if they had a choice? The swords are literally at the back of their necks, a noble says weakly. But to bring soldiers into the sacred grand hall. This is a coup, a noble says terriedly. The weird-looking spoiled brat cries and says, Mother, I really want to punch this kid's face in and watch him cry more. The countess now looks nervous instead of pissed off. The fact that the neutral knights have acted means that there is undeniable proof, she thinks. It looks like she realizes her defeat now. Calix asks Russell what is the punishment for a noble who attempts to assassinate their own blood and according to the kingdom's noble law. Our boy says this so casually as if he's killed previously. Russell menacingly says, Death by hanging. Our countess imagines a rope around her neck. It's all sweaty and just seeing it makes me fear death more. Upon hearing this way of punishment, she hugs her stupid-looking son and says that he had nothing to do with this. It looks like his name is Grunbein. He has a name after all. She says that she acted alone in order to have Calix spare her son's life. I guess this is the only redeeming quality she has on her. She yells at Calix and says that even though that they're not blood-related, she is still her mother. It's the typical thing parents say when they have nothing else to defend with except this one. We're dealing with murder. Calix coldly stares at Lila as if he wants an upcoming statement from our girl. Our boy asks, Oh really? Is that so? Lila, is that true? However, Lila tells us that when she received the mission from the Countess, the fat Prince Grunbein was present there as well, scheming on what they'll do. Calix grins since it's checkmate for the Countess, and she cries in terror and fear. Lies, she says, and she looks insane right now. Our boy thinks, yes, that a lie. But what if it's the ones who initiated the assassination in the first place are the real cowards? The Countess is pinned to the table with a vengeful-looking face as if she wants to tear Calix apart. Meanwhile, the fat son cries like a baby. The fox hunt reaches its climax, says our boy, and he stands there like a golden-haired holy god. Calix stands there triumphant with a smile on his face during this whole tedious trial. His stepmother is now restrained and clearly looks like she wants to kill him. Boom. Someone appears to have slammed the table and stood up. Calix is shocked as this may not have been part of his plan. The Countess looked back at whoever just slammed the table. Oh no. It looks like the one who stood up was no other than the chubby prince. This surprised me really much. Calix looked that way as if he is not really interested. Then the fat prince met with him face to face. Surprisingly, the fat prince kneeled instead of doing something stupid. And Calix and Russell were just as surprised as I am. Is he not that boring at all? The chubby prince kneels down before Calix, and it appears he is asking something from our boy. A noble says from the crowd, "Lord Grunbein, what in the world? It looks like this guy is part also of the group who wants to kill our boy." "Calix," the fat kid said as he knelt down as if he is asking for some forgiveness. He said, "Please, I'll accept any kind of punishment. But just spare my mother, I beg you." It looks like this fatty is not that reliant on his mom after all. Maybe there is more depth to him that I just judged too quick. "Huh," said that countess. She looks confused and bewildered just as we are. While being held down by two armored and elite soldiers, the countess yells, "Grunbein, return to your seat." It looks like the countess does not want the fat prince to commit anything stupid at the moment, but in this case they have to do something to save their ass. The nobles in the background whisper at the back, even though there are soldiers all around them, say, "This has gone too far." For the second prince too. "Quiet, Prince Calix might hear." I guess that everyone in this council really is wishing for Calix to just lose. The nobles continue whispering to each other. He went that far to protect his mother. This is too much. Next scene cuts to our boy, and he looks so bewildered that things have gotten off course. Our boy thinks to himself, the wind has shifted. It's as if I'm being made out to be the villain. Calix sure has to think of something quick to get out of this sticky situation. A dark, evil purple aura covers the fat prince, and Calix wonders to himself, could this have been the plan all along? Maybe the fat prince is some sort of mastermind that a dark purple aura is forming around him. Calix looks frustrated. It looks like the tables have turned for a moment for our boy, with an obviously fake smile and obviously fake happy attitude. Our boy says to the fat prince, "Very well. You really care about your mother. There's no choice." It looks like something terrible punishment will be happening to the fat prince. It looks like he was not really a mastermind at all. It was only for just one panel. That means, the fat prince says while looking super duper frightened, it looks like he knows what events will be transpiring. Calix gives him the punishment details. If you admit your guilt, I will reduce your punishment. If you confess, I'll try to plead with the count to spare you from the death penalty. The fat prince looks scared as hell. With a dark aura, Calix warns the fat prince, but mark my words, your words cannot be undone. Our boy gets more and more threatening. I can say that for every chapter. Somebody at the back yells out aggressively, "I won't admit it. Grunbein, what are you doing? Don't do anything unnecessary." It looks like this is the countess, and she is really pissed off. She adds, "And Calix, you, a younger brother, dare to give orders to your elder brother," while pointing her finger at her. You can see that she's fuming with anger due to her veins popping off and sweat dripping off her face. The nobles at the back say, "Elder brother, I'm astonished. Do you still not grasp the situation? How dare you try to kill Prince Calix and act so brazenly?" It looks like not all of the nobles here are part of the shenanigans. The old dude in gray clothing says, just when the wind had finally shifted, "Why are you doing something unnecessary?" "Calix, hey, are you listening?" his stepmother says. But our boy just stands there unwavering and strong like a total badass. Calix, with a pouting face, looks at Russell, and it looks like the two are doing a telepathic link. Russell says, "You two soldiers over there, immediately arrest the criminal." The two soldiers, suddenly shocked, go to the countess and say, "Yes, sir." "What? Stop. Do you know who I am?" "Yes, we know who you are. You're the bitch who tried to assassinate our boy." She looks terrified as the soldiers arrest her. The fat prince looks in terror as the soldiers arrest her. "Mother," the fat prince thinks to himself. "Ugh," she says as the soldiers put a rope on her mouth for her to stop yapping. "Arf," the countess says. The fat prince could only think in horror as this happens to her beloved mother. Now then, it looks like our boy is about to do something extremely menacing to the fat prince. Our boy asks, "Let me ask you one more time. Do you admit to the crime of attempting to poison me?" Calix looks like a total badass with a gaze that could intimidate any kind of criminal in an interrogation. The fat prince is really hesitating to say the truth as he's grinning. The crime he committed really looks like he's going to get screwed once he has admitted. I do, he confesses, and it looks like it removed a lot from his chest. Our boy thinks of course you do. If you hadn't admitted it, even Dorami's gaze would have disappeared. So, everything was calculated, hug Grunbein. Our boy seems to have resolved everything with his wit and cunning. Russell stands there and looks proud at our boy as always. Now the verdict has been settled. Since Grunbein has admitted to his crime, the memory of the earth, which could tarnish the family's honor, will remain undisclosed, our boy yells to the council. Furthermore, because Grunbein confessed before any evidence was revealed, the sentence will be reduced. Our boy now says this devastating warning to the Fat Prince. To prove that you will not make any further appeals, the criminal must close their own manor hall. Brace yourself for some exposition here, my friends. No way, the Fat Prince says. It looks like this manor hall or whatever that is something which is precious. In typical manhwa fashion, they gave some world building stuff that doesn't really make any sense. The Kingdom of Knights, Rock Kingdom, was a strict class-based society divided into nobles, knights, commoners, and slaves. The only way to become a knight's part of the ruling class was to use mana to enhance the body. This is shown into illustration by a bright light orb shape inside both hands similar to a Rasengan. Continuing the exposition, in this society, the closure of the manor hall was also known as a social death penalty. Holy moly. The Fat Prince panics. Mother, mother. He thinks to himself. What should I do, he thinks. His mother is bound there, unable to speak. Now, he's really screwed as he is out of options and just committed his crimes. Checkmate. This is the quickest action. If I don't shut down the manor hall, not only will mother's crime be exposed, but a hanging awaits beyond that. I absolutely refuse to do that. Let's just say that both of them are screwed. His mother, extremely desperate, manages to say, "Ugh, no," in a muffled voice. She looks super strong as the soldier restrains her. No, Grunbein. Shutting down the manor hall is the same as a death penalty for a noble. The fatty kneels down and it looks like he has made up his mind. All right, promises as he stands up. Must be kept at all costs. I guess this is the part where I can give the fatty some respect for having some resolve. Of course, Russell says. The scroll asks the Fat Prince and Russell gives it to him. He holds the scroll with his mouth and prepares to conjure something with his hands, or does it look like he's holding his fat stomach? Suddenly, a bright orb forms in front of him. This might be the mana hole thing which they must be talking about. What is the Fat Prince about to do? I hope he's not planning to blow up the entire building. No, stop! Grunbein. Once the mana hall is closed, even the Grandmaster cannot restore it. The Countess thinks. Your future is at stake, though the Countess is still bound by ropes. It looks like something intense just happened since the mana hall just suddenly lit up the whole room. While the Fat Prince is holding the scroll with his mouth and the orb or mana hall is still in front of him, it looks like the scroll is being torn apart due to the channeling of the process. Now, it looks like our boy is about to perform a nefarious deed to the Fat Prince.